Okay, so happy day 2 of our 5-day carnivore challenge. I'll give it a couple seconds for people to hop on. If you're joining me live, leave a comment, let me know that you're here. If you are watching the replay, drop a comment and just let me know that you are watching the replay. I've got my Carnivore Apparel shirt on. I'll show you guys here. Squad goals with a nice ribeye, bacon, and a tomahawk. If you didn't know, I also have a carnivore t-shirt pun company. It's called Carnivore Apparel. So you get lots of fun carnivore t-shirts there. I'll drop a link to it in the Facebook group and in the comments here so you can see that. All right, so how are we doing after day 1? How many have started already, or are you waiting to watch all of these videos before you start? Drop it in the comments. Let me know which route you are taking. So today, day 2, we are covering who is the carnivore diet right for. So who can the carnivore diet benefit? What benefits can you see? All of those things. So I like to focus myself on 4 main categories of people. These are the 4 main categories of people who I like to coach through the carnivore diet. So there are more groups of people than these 4 categories who can benefit from a carnivore diet, but these are the 4 that I like to focus on and that I really enjoy coaching people through. So category 1 is people with food sensitivities. So that is if you are diagnosed with any food sensitivities or if you just suspect that maybe you have some food sensitivities. The carnivore diet is the purest form of an elimination diet. It is the easiest and simplest elimination diet that you can do. A lot of elimination diets out there will have, lists upon lists of, like, if you've ever tried the GAPS diet or the FODMAP diet, anything like that. Those are common elimination diets. But it can be confusing and hard because they have this list of vegetables you can eat, this list of vegetables you can't eat, and same with, fruits, grains, all of these things. And you're still eating a lot of different things that can be affecting your body. And so you might not get all of the answers that you're looking for. So especially if you've tried an elimination diet in the past, but you weren't really satisfied with the results, carnivore can be a great new elimination diet to try. So don't knock all elimination diets if you haven't actually tried this one. And what is great about the carnivore diet is because it's so easy. It's just, if it's meat, you eat it. If it's not, you don't. So it makes it very simple and easy. And beef is also a very benign food. So most people, like 99.9% of people out there, are not sensitive to beef. And most people who think that they are, if you think that you are sensitive to red meat, you probably have never actually eaten it entirely by itself. Like full 24 hours, like you have to give yourself time to get all of the other food out of your system and just eat beef by itself, no sauces, no seasoning, no side dishes, nothing else. So most people haven't actually tried that. So if you do think you are someone who's sensitive to beef, try that out first and see if you still feel the same way. So that is why beef is so great, or the carnivore diet is so great to use as an elimination diet, because there's nothing else that's interfering with your body. There's nothing else that is going to be contributing to your symptoms. In my 30-day program, so I have a 30-day online carnivore diet program, I actually designed the very last module is designed to help you reintroduce food. So if you're using it as an elimination diet, you have an entire module in there that's going to help you out when you are ready to reintroduce foods. There's 2 different ways you can work with me. There's my 30-day online program, which you kind of just work through yourself on your own. And then I also do one-on-one coaching. So if you do one-on-one coaching with me, it's a 6-week package. And the last 2 weeks we'll focus on reintroducing foods, because there's a right and a wrong way to reintroduce foods if you're doing this for food sensitivities. So it's important to know what your body is truly actually sensitive to when you are at that stage. I'm also super stoked to offer you guys, since you are doing the 5-day challenge with me, whether you're doing it live or even if you're watching the replay, I'm still going to give you this offer, is that if you purchase my 30-day online program, I'm gifting you a 1-hour coaching session with me. So you get 60 minutes one-on-one with me if you purchase that program. So again, I'll leave some links to that below in the comments. If you want to check it out, I have a whole page that breaks down everything that is included in that program. Okay, so food sensitivities, that's one group of people that carnivore diet is really fantastic for. Another group is anyone with any sort of gut issues. So that's IBS, Crohn's, colitis, even if you just have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, anything like that, any of the gut issues. A zero fiber diet, which a carnivore diet is zero fiber, is actually fantastic for gut issues. I know it's a little counterintuitive. It's counter to what you've probably been told for most of your life. We always think, oh, we need fiber for our gut health. But actually, when your gut is that irritated, fiber can just wreck it. It can do more damage than good. And so a zero fiber diet, we find that we allow the gut to rest because it's not having to deal with this fiber coming through and creating inflammation. So we allow the gut to rest and heal. And then again, we can start to add foods back in. Once your gut is healed, we can add foods back in a lot of the times and you won't be quite as sensitive to them because your gut is healed. It's not damaged anymore. So we're not adding fuel to the fire. We're just maybe, if it's creating a little bit of inflammation, it might be creating a little bit of a fire, but your body is healthy enough that it can go in and heal that before it affects you and before it gives you any major symptoms. And that's really what we're after. It can also help with a leaky gut. So having zero fiber in there will help your body to heal a leaky gut. And if you heal your leaky gut, you are so much less likely to develop an autoimmune disease. We also know that red meat is very easy on the gut because of people who have ileostomy bags. So people who've had gut issues and they have surgery where they have to have a little bag here where their poop comes out. Basically, they can't poop out of their butt anymore. They have to poop in a bag. We know that when they eat just a pure carnivore diet, the bag fills up very little. It barely fills up because your body's absorbing everything that you are eating. Whereas if you're eating a lot of plants and fiber foods, your body can't absorb that. So it just has to throw it all out into the trash, into your poop, essentially. So that's sort of part of the reason of why we know that that a carnivore diet is easier on the gut. And there's also studies have been done, especially in people with constipation, where they put them on a high, medium, low, and a zero fiber diet. And those on the zero fiber diet did the best as far as their constipation relief. They had less straining when they were going poop and less blood in their stools on a zero fiber diet, which is a carnivore diet, zero plants. All right, the third group of people that this diet is fantastic for is those with autoimmune conditions. This is huge, my friends, especially because there's not a lot of answers for autoimmune disease out there in Western medicine. Western medicine we're really, really great at emergency medicine, right? If I get in a serious car accident or if I'm shot, I want to go to the ER. Anything chronic or ongoing, Western medicine we're not there yet, okay? They're not doing it right. So the carnivore diet is huge for those with autoimmune disease, firstly because it helps to heal your gut. So let's talk about leaky gut for a moment. So maybe you've heard of it. That term has been thrown around a lot, but I'm going to kind of explain to you what it is. So your gut, so from your mouth to your butthole, to your anus, is one tube. It's a closed system. So from your mouth all the way out through your digestive tract, that's still considered outside of your body because it's just this one tube that goes through your whole body and it's closed off. So what's on the inside of that tube doesn't touch what's on the outside of that tube, which is, your organs and things like that. So the cells of your gut are very closely linked. They have tight junctions that keep what's on the outside, what's on the inside. And you have cells and layers of mucosa and things on the inside of your gut. So let's say this is your gut lumen right here. So on the inside of it, you have cells that are there to break down and digest your food. And then they allow into your body only what is necessary. So they break down the carbs, the fats, the proteins into their tiny little pieces, into glucose, amino acids, into short chain fatty acids, and that's what your body absorbs because your body is not meant to be in contact with anything in the outside world. That's why if you get a cut into your abdomen, that can be very dangerous because if that gets infected, we've got a problem. So here's what happens with leaky gut. And leaky gut can be caused from gluten is a big one that can cause leaky gut. Even vegetables, and there's some components in plant foods and even the fiber and everything that's going in there and scratching up the inside of your gut. All of that can lead to this leaky gut. So it's a lot of stuff that's in our environment right now that we are exposed to can create this. So what happens is these tight junctions inside your digestive tract start to loosen up. And when they loosen up, then things are allowed to float inside. So now this tube that was supposed to be outside of your body because it's not having contact with the inside, now things are leaking through it. So here is the problem with that, and here's how it creates autoimmune disease. Sometimes it's going to be your own body cells that can be leaking through. So the cells that are meant to be on the inside of your gut are leaking to the outside of your gut, to the inside of your body. Your immune system was never supposed to come into contact with those cells. So it's not set up to know that that is you. So here's what happens with autoimmune disease is if it's your own body cells that leak through your gut and now they come in contact with your immune system, because there's a huge part of your immune system that is in your gut, your immune system says, I don't recognize this cell, but it's actually one of your own body cells, but it says, I don't recognize this. I've never seen this guy before. He must be a problem. So it marks it and says, hey, antibodies, you guys got to come take care of this guy. He's not supposed to be here. But now your body has made antibodies against your own human cells. And that's where we start to get autoimmune disease, because that own human cell, maybe it looks like another cell in your body, like your pancreas. So we're going to get type 1 diabetes. It could look like your thyroid. So now we've got Hashimoto's. So that's one mechanism of it. Another mechanism is that sometimes the things that are leaking through, it's even if it's not your own body cells, it can also be like different food particles and things like that that are getting through. Those can also look like some of your body cells. So that's one where gluten will do that. So sometimes gluten can mimic, it's called molecular mimicry. So it's looking like other cells in your body, especially with gluten. I believe it mimics your cerebellum too. And so that's how it can create even problems like dizziness, fatigue, brain fog from gluten. It's not always digestive problems that gluten causes. So it can create all of those problems as well. So I have a whole module where I talk about gluten as well. If you're like kind of confused about the whole gluten situation or why is it bad, what's the deal with gluten, I have an entire module. So I break down the whole science of gluten and what it does to the body and why we're getting more sensitivities to gluten now than we did before, because the wheat that we're eating is not the wheat that grandma ate. Okay, so there's a reason why. It's not a fad diet. People really are becoming more sensitive to gluten. And there's a reason for that. And I have a whole module talking about that in my 30-day program. So if you want to do a deeper dive into there, that's in the program. But essentially what you need to know is for autoimmune disease, it typically always starts with the gut. So that's what happens is your gut becomes leaky, you get some of your own cells coming into your body, and then your body is reacting to those cells that were not supposed to be there, that your body wasn't supposed to flag as a problem, but it did because we got that leaky gut. So this is where carnivore is huge for helping out with autoimmune conditions, because we heal your gut and then we allow the body to calm down. So we calm down that fire, that inflammatory response that your body is having. So again, we're not adding more fuel to it. When we're on the carnivore diet, we are healing. So we heal those tight junctions. We get your gut to not be leaky anymore. And then your body can calm down and be like, okay, wait a minute, what is going on? Because right now, if you're in the midst of autoimmune and you're still eating a lot of vegetables and like things that seem healthy, but vegetables, gluten, anything like that that's creating that more of that leaky gut, your body can't even deal with what's going on with your immune system. Your body's like, yeah, I don't know, the immune system's attacking the thyroid right now, but like we got to deal with what's going on in the gut. Like there's too much going on. So first we heal your gut, then your body can focus on healing your immune system as well. A really big help for that too, for healing leaky gut, is bone broth. So if you're here for any sort of autoimmune conditions, gut issues, anything like that, definitely be including bone broth in your carnivore diet. And in the Facebook group, I've got a good recipe for autoimmune friendly bone broth where it has no seasoning, spices, anything like that in there. Okay, so that's the third group that carnivore is great for. The last group is anyone with skin issues. So that is acne, eczema, psoriasis, just dry, flaky skin. Any sort of skin conditions at all like that, carnivore diet is phenomenal to heal your skin. First of all, because we start with the gut, right? Pretty much all health is starting with the gut. We're starting to find that out more and more now. So we heal your gut, that allows your skin to heal. And it also has a ton of collagen. All of the saturated fat in there is really, really good for your skin as well. And one tip, if you are here to heal your skin, definitely focus on getting organ meats and specifically liver. Liver is huge for helping your skin to heal. So definitely be including liver in your diet. If you don't want to eat straight liver, you can get it from Ancestral Supplements. They make it just in a capsule form, so it's really easy. You just take it down like a vitamin every day. There's a link to Ancestral Supplements in the About section of the group as well. It also helps with your skin because it just decreases overall inflammation. So that's huge for skin health, is inflammation. All right, so stop me at any time, ask any questions here as we're going. If you're tuning in live, if you're catching the replay, you can still throw some comments on here with any questions. I will answer them as we go. And now I'm going to answer the FAQ. So I posted up the FAQ post from yesterday, so I'm going to answer some of those questions here as well. So someone asked, she said, you have said that saturated fat is good for your brain, but I've heard that a diet high in saturated fat and sodium can lead to health problems like heart disease. So why has sodium and saturated fat been seen as negative from the health community? So again, it's sort of, sometimes I feel like I sound like a broken record, but it's true. There's just been a lot of bad science that has been perpetuated through the years. So especially with saturated fat, it all started with Ansel Keys back in, I think it was the 40s or 50s. Whoever was president at the time, he had a heart attack. Americans started freaking out about heart health. Ansel Keys was paid by the sugar industry to research what was going on. He had this hypothesis that he thought saturated fat caused heart disease. He ran with it, had bad science. We have since debunked most of his studies, found out that he was funded by the sugar industry. But unfortunately, he was a very charismatic guy, and so not a lot of people wanted to go up against him. So his science just got perpetuated over the years. But we were finding out more and more that saturated fat does not cause heart disease. I actually did an Instagram live about this, I don't know, maybe like a month or two ago. So you can go on my IGTV and find it on there as well. But recently, a prestigious journal article came out saying they kind of retracted their statement on saturated fat. So it's starting to be recognized even by the major medical journals and everything now too, which is awesome. Hopefully we can start to make that shift and realize that saturated fat is actually really good for us. It's really good for your brain. It's protective against dementia and Alzheimer's as well. Okay, another question here was, is there a certain amount of water that you try to drink every day, or is it just drink when you're thirsty? I mostly just drink to thirst. I don't necessarily feel like we need to be concentrating too much on how much water we're getting, as long as we're not too thirsty and you're feeling good and you have good energy. If you want to do, half your body weight in ounces, you can try that out and see how you feel. It's a good kind of starting marker to start at, and you can go from there. But I mostly drink to thirst. But I start every day with 16 ounces of salt water. So I chug that every day. I'm drinking water throughout the day. I have water in my office, and then I also do an electrolyte mix with my water in the middle of the day as well. So I'm getting, plenty of liquids in. Okay, another question was, what is the best meat to eat with psoriatic arthritis? So if you have psoriatic arthritis, what kind of meat is best? Really, you can't go wrong with any sort of red meat. So you can do beef, lamb, anything like that is going to be great. You just want to keep your inflammation low is the biggest thing when it comes to arthritis. And the carnivore diet also is a very anti-inflammatory diet, which I know also sounds counterintuitive, but I promise you, there's been so many people who go on the carnivore diet. They get their C-reactive protein tested in their blood. It's just a marker in your blood that shows levels of inflammation, and it's 0. I mean, it's negligible. It's like 0.001 or something. It's ridiculously low. So any sort of red meat, you are good. Also, in that same question, he asked, does turkey from the store have chemicals in it like chicken does? So it just kind of depends on where you're getting it. If you're getting it, from a very inexpensive grocery store, then possibly. But you can always check the ingredients and, maybe research the company that you're getting the turkey from a little bit, or just make sure that you're always buying it from a farmer or somewhere that it focuses on keeping their turkeys, out on the pasture and things like that. And then it shouldn't have a lot of chemicals in it. But there is a lot of things like chicken and stuff from, I think, Foster Farms. They inject it with sodium mixture too. I mean, I'm sure it's not just sodium, it's like other crappy chemicals and stuff like that. So you always want to do the best you can with what you have. Of course, if your budget is limiting you, just do what you can and stick with beef. Beef is always going to be a little bit better than birds as far as if you're getting not like the perfect, grass-fed, grass-finished type stuff, because ruminant animals, so beef, just any animal that has like hooves basically, they are able to convert, even if they have a crappy diet, they don't put as much of that crappy diet into their meat. Whereas like single stomach animals like chicken and turkey, a lot of and pigs also with pork. So if they're having a crappy diet, if they have bad fats in their diet, more of that goes into their meat. So just something to be aware of. You're always going to be better off with red meat in that case. Okay, someone asked about grilling on charcoal while on the carnivore diet, if that's good or bad, and that's great. You can, make your red meat however you want to. However tastes best to you is fine. Grilling on charcoal is totally cool. Someone asked if it's important to vary your cuts of beef, or is it okay to stick to a few cuts that are your favorite? That's really just based on personal preferences. But definitely don't be afraid of fat. So that's a big thing when you're first starting out, is make sure you're eating plenty of fat as well. Get those good fatty cuts of steak. You can get, 85-15 or even 80-20 ground beef, ribeye steaks, things like that. If you're going for leaner cuts just due to cost, you can buy the lean cuts and then buy some suet, which is the fat that's on top of kidneys. Really, really good for you. So you can just fry that up and just eat it with your leaner cuts of beef to make sure you're getting that fat in there. Okay, someone else asked, is there any sort of hot tea we can have? How about a sprinkle of stevia in your coffee or flavored sparkling water? So again, that kind of comes down to your personal preference and how strict you want to be on the carnivore diet. So I always recommend being as strict as possible up front, so that way you can really figure out how your body reacts to all these different foods and things, or the herbs and things that are in hot tea. Like, is it going to do you any harm? Probably not, but we won't know until we take it out and then we add it back in. So if you just can't handle not having tea or like some stevia in your coffee every day, and if that aspect is what's going to stop you from even starting carnivore, then don't let that stop you. Still have that. Include that in your diet and go carnivore. But if you're not seeing the results that you want, then maybe it's time to think about taking those things out. And flavored sparkling water is kind of up in the air. Like for me, I find that if I do like LaCroix or any of those ones that just have like flavorings in them, they give me a headache. So I don't really know like what those flavorings are, but I don't think they're great. I do really like Spindrift is a great brand because it's flavored sparkling water, but it's made with real juice, like real fruit juice, but it doesn't have a ton of sugar in it, which is awesome. So you have to check the label on them. Some of them do have, upwards of like 3-4 grams, which then you're teetering on a whole teaspoon of sugar. So that's kind of a lot, but they have like a lemon one. I don't believe that one has very much, and grapefruit, things like that. So that can be a better option as well for you. Okay, someone asked, I salt everything and drank salt water in the morning. I ended up with only 1.5 teaspoons for the whole day. And she was asking, do I really need that much salt? The 2 2/3 teaspoon, which was the recommendation from yesterday. And really just is based on how you feel. So if you're feeling good at only 1.5 teaspoons of salt, then that's great. Then you can keep it at that and you're doing fine. But if you're starting to feel some symptoms of the keto flu or the, tiredness, lethargy, anything like that, then it's time to think about upping the salt intake there. Someone asked, what are the best alcoholic drinks to have in a carnivore diet? So technically alcohol is not included. So again, it just comes down to, I would recommend for the first 30 days, no alcohol. Again, you just want to see how you feel. After the 30 days, of course, you're going to, live your life. You're going to have some drinks sometimes. So your best bet is to stick with low sugar alcohol. So the worst part about alcohol is mostly the mixers. So don't be mixing it with soda, especially not diet soda. That stuff is straight poison. We'll get into that in a couple days. We're covering that in this 5-day challenge. So you want to, stick with vodka soda, tequila soda, things like that. You can, if you're going to do wine, Dry Farm Wines is a really good company. You can order the wine online, and it's very clean wine and very low sugar. So I would stick with that if you're going to do alcohol. But again, first 30 days, you really want to try to stay as strict as possible. Okay, and then the last question was, what do you think about nuts? I love them for a quick snack, but do they hinder the carnivore diet? So again, nuts are not included in carnivore. People can be very reactive to nuts. So I would keep those out for at least the first 30 days and see how you feel, and then you can add them back in and see how you feel after that. Other great quick carnivore snacks, you can do beef jerky. You can get like beef sticks, not a Slim Jim because I'm sure that has terrible ingredients in it. But like US Wellness Meats has beef sticks that they sell that have very clean ingredients that are awesome. So those are some good, just quick, carnivore snacks on the go. Beef jerky, really, you can never go wrong with that. So I would stick with that. Okay, so that was all of the FAQ questions. Leave a comment if you're watching the replay. Leave a comment on this video. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Let me know if this was helpful information. I will see you guys here again tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. in the Facebook group for day 3. We'll be covering how to stay successful on this diet, and we'll also do a little bit of a healing mindset meditation. So it's really, really awesome, and I will see you guys tomorrow.